What is going on? Welcome to Producing for Artists. I'm really excited. I can't find the stream right now, so just bear with me. I want to make sure that this is playing in the Producing for Artists page because if you join the group, you probably want to watch this. So bear with me here. And I'm also going to try vertical mode instead of horizontal mode. So some of the things I'll have to kind of redo for a new aspect ratio. But I think it's better. Most people watch on their mobile devices, right? So bear with me. I have a lot of cool stuff I want to talk about today. I just need to find the stream real quick so I can share it in the actual group. So bear with me. I mean, it should have streamed right there. I don't know why it didn't. All right, here we go. All right, I at least found it here. So I'm just going to share it in the Producing for Artists group so everybody can see it real quick. And then we will get right into it. I had some kind of epiphanies this week, so I'm really excited about today, what we're going to talk about, and I'll go over the agenda for a second. All right, here we go. So I'm creating a post. I'm sharing it in the group. There we go. All right, awesome. So what is that agenda? Give me one second. I think I might be signed in under the wrong name or something. I don't know what's going on. It's showing that I'm Awesome Gamer. What's up, Awesome Gamer? It's showing that I'm Heatwave. I don't know. Maybe I'm signed under the Heatwaves group, and maybe that's why I'm not streaming to, who I want to stream to exactly. So I apologize for that. But let me go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to go over the agenda for today. And let me see if I can do a chat overlay as well. So, like I said, this is kind of a new thing where I'm doing this vertically. So I don't necessarily see all of the comments on the screen. Well, it says chat overlay. Oh, this is the chat overlay. I gotcha. All right, cool. All right, Awesome Gamer. What's up? What's up? Okay, so let me share my screen real quick, and I'll go over what we're going to go over today. So the purpose of this session, the Producing for Artists sessions every week, obviously is for anybody that wants to learn how to monetize your music. So if you're a music creator and you want to learn ways to monetize it, that's what we're learning how to do here. And we're going to find out what works, what doesn't work. So I found out something that doesn't work, at least it doesn't work for me, that I want to go over, and I'm going to come up with a new strategy that I want to share with you today. And also I want to go over what the actual catalyst was for me starting this group back up. So most of you know that I started this about a year ago. It kind of fell off in January, and I didn't really touch it. I'm going to go over that whole story. So let me share the agenda real quick so you know what we're going to talk about today. All right. So let me go back here and make sure this is sharing. Oh, it kind of shares like that. That's a little too small to read. I don't think anybody can read that. So let me try sharing another way. Let's go with this approach right here. Let's turn off the chat overlay. That'll probably help. And see if I can get my face back on here with the dock. All right, cool. And then let me zoom in on that dock a bit so you can see what's going on. All right, where is that? There it is. Okay, so we're going to zoom in a bit. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over jasondowdymusic.com because there's a lot of free stuff that you probably want to take advantage of. And I just want to make sure at the beginning of every one of these sessions that everybody knows where to find that free stuff that might help you in your career and help you monetize your music. We're going to talk about mindset. So every time we talk about mindset, marketing, monetization, and music creation. So the mindset piece, I'm going to go over a personal story of exactly why I'm doing this. Why I started the group back up, so you understand where that's coming from, and it's probably something that you can relate to. And then we're going to talk about optimizing. So for the marketing piece, we're going to talk about a strategy that didn't work, a direct message strategy that I don't like, and I'll tell you why. And then we're going to go over a new strategy that we're going to try over the next few weeks. Monetization. We're going to talk about sync licensing again and why that's probably the best option to start. And I have a spreadsheet that I'll share, and I'll show you how to use that and how to get started in sync. And then music creation. FL Studio, I'm going to show you, if you get a sample and you want to know how to detect the chords, exactly what the chord progression is, I have a tool that can help you do that. And then we're also, there's a song I'm going to write to from my boy Fiction, who came up with a dope pop beat. So I'm going to go over that. And, a lot of the time when we write music, we kind of write similar melodies because that's what's in our head a lot. And sometimes you're like, man, I need more variety. I need to think outside the box. I need to come up with something a little more creative. I have a tool called MIDI Wizard that can help you with that as well. There was nobody submitted for the music this week, so we're not going to do a music review. But if there's time left at the end of the session, then we'll go over Q&A. All right, so let's hop into it. All right, cool. So let's go to jasondowdymusic.com. Let me share my screen real quick. All right, so this is jasondowdymusic.com. It's on the, if you're in the Producing for Artists group, it's right there in the website. If you're not in the group, it's Jason Dowdy, DOWTY music.com. And if you go to my profile, that's probably the first link you're going to see. But right here, if you want to join Producing for Artists, you can do it right there. Like I mentioned, we have some, some resources that are only in the group, and we'll go over that as well in a little bit. But here, if you want some free FL Studio music courses, I have that. So I'll just click on that real quick. So there's producing for free. So if you don't have a DAW or you want to dip your toe into FL Studio and want to learn how to use that, producing for free will get you up and running. Even if you've never produced before, you'll have your first professional sounding track in 2 hours or less, just using the lowest cost version of FL Studio and some free stuff you can find on the internet. So if you've ever been frustrated and you're like, man, I don't know how to produce, it's too intimidating, too many buttons, that'll get you through, your first track. And it's a free training. Producing for Artists is more of a deep dive into that. So that course is over like 8 or 9 hours of just step-by-step tutorials. It goes all the way from, conceptualizing what type of track you want to create all the way to the mix and the export of your stems and all of that. And then there's songwriting, recording, and mixing, swarm training. If you're an independent artist and you may not necessarily want to learn how to produce, but you want to learn how to get your ideas down in a DAW or record your own voice for producers or anything like that, that's a great course to take as well. There's Clint Productions giving me a shout out. And then there's a little bit about mentorship. So if you need, you're like, I want to cut through all the crap and just, work with me personally, one-on-one, that's an option for you as well. Going back to the homepage real quick. If you want to know more about that mentorship program, that's there as well. There's my beats. You can get 5 beats for free. If, I'm more of a pop/hip hop type producer. And if there's any tracks that grab you, you can grab those for free. There's some services I offer as well, like collaborating with you. If you're an artist, for example, and you have an idea and you want to get that idea into a professional track that you're ready to release, but you don't have the production or mixing skills, we can collaborate on that. So you can read about that there. This is the freebies section. So if you go here, lots of free stuff here. There's some sample packs if you want those as well. But if you go to this download button, and I know it's hard to read on a phone, but there's some contract templates, how to make money as an artist courses, AI songwriting guide, boosting social engagement, a bunch of stuff, right? So if you're somebody that's trying to monetize your music, there's some free stuff for you as well. All right, cool. That's the spiel for that. Let me stop sharing my screen real quick. And I just want to put that at the top of all of these just so everybody knows they have those free things. All right, so let's see what's next on the agenda. I don't see anybody in the chat yet. And we are streaming on Instagram this time. So what's up, Instagram? Okay, let me go back to the agenda. Next, we're going to talk about why I'm doing this, right? Every Saturday at 12 o'clock, we have the Producing for Artists Sessions. What's up? What's up, Pat? We're going to show your beat here in a little bit and give some tips on AI. So that's my boy Fiction, as I was talking about, made this incredible pop beat that we're going to get to in a little bit. But anyway, the reason I started this up again, so I started this about 1 year ago. I think I even have an anniversary post. Facebook was like, hey, you've been doing this for a year, but actually I stopped it in January. And originally what I wanted to do was just help artists learn how to produce for themselves. Like that was the goal. And then I remember the day, it was February 7th of this year. Well, first, my New Year's resolution was, hey, I want to make music fun again, right? I'm just going to work my job. I'm going to do music just for fun. I do not want to monetize this. I don't want to make a business out of this, right? I have a good paying job. I'm, feel good and want to spend more time with family, all that, right? Hanging out with Cloud Runner, getting moved. That's cool. Cloud Runner, happy birthday. Tell him happy birthday for me. I know I missed it yesterday, but you know, I'll get into that in a minute. But right, that was my New Year's resolution. I want to just have fun this year, make music and do my job. And then February 7th, I got laid off from my job. And I'm kind of Gen X, right? I grew up under a different set of rules, and the world has changed so quickly now. Back when I was growing up, they kind of taught you, hey, if you show up every day, you bring a lot of value and do your job well, you're going to have some job security because there's a lot of people who aren't doing that, right? And I believe that, believed it wholeheartedly. Brought my A game to work every day. Did a great job and then got laid off. And the reason I got laid off was not because I was not doing a good job. It's because the business itself was like, we need to restructure. We need to streamline our workforce. COVID messed us up financially, right? All that stuff, right? And it made sense for them. But kind of came to the realization that you're at the mercy of a company. And then I went into, oh crap, I got to make some money mode, right? I got a family, I got responsibilities, right? So I did that. Luckily, I landed a job relatively quickly. Like I was back on another job by March 20th. Uh, but I was extremely lucky. The job market right now is not what it used to be. It is definitely a hirer's market, right? Like they kind of have most of the power now. Um, you hear about a lot of these large tech companies, especially with layoffs and things like that. So that got me thinking, hey, if I were to get laid off again, what do I have as a backup? What kind of revenue streams can I have? What else can I do to, help with that? And that's what got me back into this. And the reason I didn't get back into this earlier is because I was learning a brand new job, right? I was just trying to make that work, just trying to get my feet back under me. So that kind of put me back for the year. But that's why this is a focus for now. I don't know if anybody can relate to that out there. And I'll probably post this as like a shorter video as well. Um, but the world has changed a lot, right? And the market's different. So that's one reason I want to do this. And I want to, help any other music creators out there figure this out because there is a ton of like ads and like when you're scrolling, if you've ever tried to monetize your music, you see a lot of ads with a lot of ideas and a lot of different ways to do it. Some of it works, some of it doesn't, right? I want to focus on what works. So that's what I'm going to be doing every hour, 1 hour a week in this group. And, also going to be active in the group and answering questions and things like that. Or, if I don't have the answers, we'll find them together. But that's the purpose of this group, to kind of dig through all the noise to find the gems, apply them, and make some money. Yeah. Yeah. Fiction. The job world now is a little scary. So that's what we're going to be doing in here. All right, cool. So that's my spiel. That's my story. That's the catalyst. Let's see what's next on the agenda. All right, so marketing. Okay, so what I was trying, the first thing I want to say is if you're on social media and you're trying to use your social media to kind of grow, you don't even have to grow your own community. Just think of it as growing your presence and your reach and getting to know people that can make things happen and that you can kind of form a symbiotic, I don't even know if that's a word, relationship with, where you're both kind of adding value, right? You're both helping each other out. Um so one strategy that I was trying to do to grow this group was doing direct messages. So I was going to Facebook groups, and I'm just sticking with one platform right now because if you try to learn all the platforms at once, it's just too much, right? So I would say narrow your scope to one thing to start with. I was going through Facebook, finding a lot of groups that had, hey, post your links to find independent artists who are out there trying to promote themselves. And I figured they could benefit from this group. And I was writing DMs, and I had kind of some pre-scripted things and mixed it with some, genuine responses and all of that. Gotten some conversations I didn't necessarily want to be in. It never felt good. It never felt right. I never looked forward to doing it. And then as I got to study more, I just watched a bunch of YouTube videos on, hey, how do you grow your Facebook group? They were all saying, don't do that. So we're going to abandon that strategy, and I'm going to go with a new strategy now. All right. Oh, I'm going to read Fiction's message first. So let's see. I moved to Oklahoma, and people take a lot for granted. Yeah, because there isn't a lot of jobs. 70% of all of Oklahoma small towns. Yes, that is true, especially rural America and small towns. That's where it's hit the worst. Um, you have to travel to big cities to get work, but thank goodness we all have the internet, right? Like, you can make money on the internet. It is possible. Other people have done it, and we're going to figure this out. And somebody as talented as Fiction should be making a lot of money. So I don't know. I don't have all the answers yet, Fiction, but we're going to figure it out. All right. So, and I think the sync space is the way to go. But anyway, going back to the Facebook group strategy. All right. So I think one of the biggest things that hinder music creators out there is just not putting themselves out there, right? They keep all the music to themselves. You might have an introverted personality, which is fine, but you still have to meet the right people at the right time, and figure out a way where you can make their life better, or bring them something of value, and then you can have a good relationship with them, and then you can help each other out, right? um so what I'm doing is I'm growing a group, trying it that way, but it may just be more active in certain groups, right? Or something like that. So let me share my screen. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to be doing, and then you can take little nuggets away, just to make those connections. So let me share my screen again. This time I'm going to share. I'm just going to share the Facebook. Share Facebook. Here we go. So here is the group, right? And let me see what this looks like in the stream real quick. Make sure you can see that. Oh, no, let's switch it to here. There we go. See, that's why I check things. All right. So the number one thing is start with your profile, right? When people come to your profile, you want to make sure that it's optimized and that there's like one action for the person to take. It might be just checking out your music. Maybe you're trying to reach out to artists to lease beats, right? That might be your number one goal. So just have that as, if it's a download a few free beats, or it's check out my beats here, whatever it is, make sure you have that one action you want them to do. Make sure that's clear in your mind, and then optimize your socials for that. So I'm going to start with my personal profile. And um, just a quick, for Facebook specifically, um, think of it this way. There's a good analogy that I heard one time. For Facebook, you have your personal profile. Think of that as your house, right? That's you as a person. You don't necessarily need to have it. You can have a professional profile, but you don't want to have it, too businessy. You want to mix in some personal things as well, because if somebody comes to your house, they want to get to know you as a person in general, right? Think of your page as your storefront, your business, right? That's where you want to have, offers or things you're selling or any of that type of stuff. And then groups, think of groups as a party, right? Like, you're not going to try to sell somebody something at a party, right? If you walk up to some stranger, the first thing you say is not, hey, check out my music. Hey, buy this, right? You just chill out, you vibe, you get to know people. It's a party, right? And then if you're interesting enough, then they might be like, oh, hey, let me check out what you do have, right? And that's kind of the philosophy you need to take with especially Facebook. So let me show you what I did with the profiles real quick. So let me go to my personal one first, right? So, there's me and my family. Right here, hey, if somebody does come to my home, the first thing I want them to know is I have ways I can help you monetize your music, new friend, right? And then my one action that I asked people to take, and I included it in the link here, and the link here is join producing for artists. That's the one thing I want people to do. I want people to come into the group so we can get together every week and work on monetizing our music together. All right. So that's the personal profile. And then if you go to the page, so here, let me go here. Let me double check the stream, make sure you can see this well. Okay. Yep. So here's my page. Up here at the top for my banner, there's a click here, right? Want to make music for your money? Click here. It looks like a big, easy to click green button. That's not actually a button, but if you do click on it over here on the right, I'm not sure if this is showing up in the stream. It's not, but over on the right, when you do click on it, there are some comments, and the comments say, hey, want to monetize your music? Join my group, Producing for Artists, right? Okay, that's the storefront. And then if you go to groups, producing for artists, you're already in that one. There's not really an action to take because you're already there. But you do need to, if you are running a group, you do need to optimize that as well. So if we go to producing for artists at the top, I put that we have a session every Saturday at noon. And then I have the email address where you would send your music submissions every week. So we do a music review just to make it easy, right? What's this group all about? What's the most important thing about this group? Put it right there in the banner. Saturdays at noon, we do this live session. Send your music here. All right. Now, there's one other thing that I want to mention with this strategy, and it's groups. So you want to be active in the right type of group for you, depending on what you're trying to do. So if you are, let's say you're a beat maker and you want to get hip hop artists to check out your beats and maybe you want to work with them or collaborate or whatever it is. You'd probably want to join a, hip hop artist type of group, maybe even one that's private, or, if you go to a lot of these groups, you'll notice it's just spam, right? Here, check out my song, check this out, check this out. Hey, I want to market your music for you. Just a bunch of spam, right? So make sure it's a good quality group, and you may have to do some searching. So like here, I'll do a search here real quick. Like for me, I would want music entrepreneurs, right? Or music, I don't know, music sync licensing. And maybe I would look for groups in this space. So if you hit enter, it brings up some groups. You go in, you look at them. Here, we'll bring this one up real quick. This is a private group. I have 6 friends in it. There's 6.6K members. That actually looks like a pretty good. Oh, I'm already in it. Right. So, right. So look for groups that you feel like would most be receptive to whatever message you have, right? After you find those groups, I would suggest picking 1 or 2, maybe 3, and commit yourself to being active in those groups, um, adding value, answering questions, being the interesting person at the party, right? A group is a party, and helpful, and just like giving people. If you're answering a hard question for them, or you share a resource that you have, or anything like that, and you offer genuine help, they're going to be more likely to check out your profile. Now, the interesting thing about groups, though, is if somebody does check out your profile, it doesn't necessarily show them your personal profile. It shows them a group version of your profile. So here, let me switch this up real quick. So I'm going to go to well, I'll just use this one as an example. Okay, it says write something. Man, it looks like, oh, okay. So I'm going to click on my profile. Hopefully this is what somebody in the group would see. They would see a picture of my family. They would see that I'm live right now and that I've never posted in this group. So they only see group related content, right? So if you wanted somebody to join your group, like, my one action is join producing for artists. There's no way they're going to know to do that because this is not optimized. But I have optimized some other groups. I'll show you that real quick. So let's go to Heat Wave since Pat's here. So Fiction and Deandra run a group called Heat Wave. I'm going to go ahead and give them that plug real quick. So anybody watching, every Friday night, we share our music. Sometimes it's a hotspot and they'll vote on your beat, and the best ones will get 10 out of 10, and they get put in the VIP room, and then they pick a winner, and then they have a tournament of fire, and it's crazy. Just the talent in there is insane. It's every Friday night at 9 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock Central time. Um, Heat Wave Music Group's what it's called, so you can see it right here. But check this out. If I were to write something here, I'm going to click on my picture. You can see I've added the banner that says click here. Want to make money from your music? So if I were to, offer somebody some help in that group or do something like that, they would click on my profile and this is what they would see. They would see if, hey, I asked if there was a hotspot tonight. So all the posts that I made in the group, that I have some sync placements, right? And then over here in the intro, I also edited this part as well. So join the group. Here's the link. It doesn't necessarily include the link, so it is kind of a pain. It's easier to click here because that will bring up the comments that actually has the link. But pick 2 or 3 groups that you can be active in, right? I've been active in this one forever, so I know I'm going to be active in that one. I chose the other 2 groups that I chose was I bought a tool called MIDI Wizard from Unison, and there's a private group. If you bought that tool, you go in there. So I know there's a lot of producers that are using that tool, and I have a lot in common with them in that group. And I also picked one called Make Pop Music, which is a larger group, so the reach is going to be better. There's like 40,000 people in there, and I'm more of a pop producer, right? So purposefully every day, I'm going to go into that group, ask myself, hey, how can I help somebody in this group? How can I add value to this group? Do my best to add value. At least one post in every group every day, every weekday at least. And that's my social media strategy to help grow this group more organically. And it's not just DMing strangers, because nobody has solicited my help. Nobody asked for my help. So if I'm DMing somebody, people are like, yeah, get away, right? But this way, it's more like an organic, if that makes sense. All right. Cool. So hopefully you can apply that. Right. Thank you, these keys. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's move on to the next section real quick. And we might get through a little early today. Sync library spreadsheet. So if you are anybody out there who has an interest into getting sync placements, but you have not tried it yet, I uploaded a document to the group today. If you scroll down, you'll see the post, but if you just hit files, you'll see it. Hold on, let me see if I can share. I might go back to horizontal mode because there's some things you can't see in the vertical mode. Anyway, I'm going to go to producing for artists real quick. Bear with me. And my neighbor is fixing his motorcycle. So if you hear that in the background, I apologize. All right, here we go. All right, so this part right here, there's a part that says files. If you click on that, you can see there's the producing for artists, music libraries, and supervisors tracker. And I'm just going to share my screen real quick and show you that. I might have to share it here. I might have to share it like this. You're not going to be able to see this very well, but I'll explain what it is. All right. And if you just go to the group and you go up to the files and you download it, you're going to see it a lot better. So you could follow along if you want to. But let me share my screen. All right. And it'll be this one, music libraries and supervisors, music supervisors. Okay. All right. Let me see what this looks like in the stream. It looks tiny. All right. That's probably not good. Maybe I can do this. And then you can't see the left side of it. We could try, I guess this is the best way to do it. All right. So I'm going to zoom in quite a bit so you can see this a little bit better. Bear with me. All right. So when you first get to this sheet, let me see what that looks like. Yeah, that's a little bit better. You can kind of see those. All right. When you first get to this sheet, if you scroll to the right, it says make a copy of this Google Sheet, because it's in a PDF form, right? So just click on that and that will take you to this Google Sheet, and then you just make a copy of it. I didn't give you edit access, so you don't mess it up for everybody else, right? So basically what we have is we just have a list of music libraries. So a music library are people that already have relationships with the production companies, with the music supervisors that pick the music for shows and things like that. The shows that I have been placed in so far, like I've seen 70 cues or 77 cues, for example, for one episode of Dateline. So think about all the musicians out there, but there are a lot, right? But there's not that many that are creating good music. And if you need 77 cues for a show that's like original and hasn't been overused, you need a lot of musicians out there creating. And think about, like, I brought this up before, but back in, the 80s and 90s when I was growing up, there were like, even before cable, there was like 3 channels, but then cable, you had maybe, it said you had 100 channels, but there was only 12 anybody ever watched, right? And there's only so many shows on that. Now there are podcasts, there's video games, there's streamers, there's even content for streaming platforms like TikTok and all of that for short form videos. There's a million streaming services, a lot more shows, everything's on demand. So it's not like you would just get that first royalty from when it plays once. Everything's reruns all the time. So that money's going to keep coming in on those royalties. So um, if you think, I think the demand is more than the supply right now for sync licensing. And that's why if you are a producer and you're not having much luck with connecting with the right artist or, making money that way, I would look at this route. So what I did is I just went in and I Googled, right? I Googled a bunch of music libraries. Music libraries, so that music supervisor, they just go to that library, they type in some keywords, they find some music that fits the scene. And if you're in that library, you might get selected, right? So and they already have the relationships, they're already in there, they're already looking. So you want to reach out to these people. And I'll just bring one up real quick. Let's do, I don't know. What was that? Black Toast? I think I saw one called Black Toast. That sounded interesting. Yeah, Black Toast Music. Let's go to Black Toast Music and see what we have. All right, so let me share this tab. And I know it's hard to see on the phone, but I'll zoom in a bit and make it a little bigger. Hopefully it'll be a little easier. So you want to look for contact, right? Sometimes right here on the front page, they'll have submit your music here, or that they're looking for composers or something like that, right? So you would click contact, looks like, or you might want to scroll to the bottom just to see if there's anything. Well, they haven't updated their website since 2011. I don't know if that's good or bad. It might be that they're too busy making music, so it might be good. But they do have a lot of socials, so you could follow them on there as well. But let's hit the contact button, right? All right. Not only do you have a way to contact them here, but you actually have the CEO, the president, and the director of creative services. I would say probably the director of creative services might be somebody you want to reach out to. Maybe you may want to keep this email on file. So you go back to the sheet, and say, wait, hold on. Let me go back to the sheet. Here we go. So Black Toast Music. Oh, you know what? Let me freeze. I'm going to fix this sheet real quick. Hold on. I only froze the top row. So let me view, freeze. I just made this yesterday, so there we go. Up to 2 rows. Okay. Now we can see email or contact page, right? In this case, if you can find it, I would say if you can find an email address, go with that first, right? So we have that in there. I'm going to erase this because this is the one I'm giving to you. And then you'd put Stephanie. Did it have her last name? Let me go back real quick. Stephanie Reed is her name. So you type the name Stephanie Reed into here, and then you want to write this person. And I'll give you a couple rules on that real quick. I'm actually going to create a course for this. Start and sync music, something like that. And I'll make it available in this group for free. Eventually, all of this stuff will be a product, right? And cost money for others one day. But I haven't figured enough of it out yet. So I want to make sure that everything works. I know for a fact that this method works because that's what I did in order to get a relationship with the sync library. So I know this works. You want to send them an email with a link to your music. You don't want to send them MP3s, and you don't want to send them, WAV files or anything like that. It has to be a link hosted on a platform just so they can click it. And then you got I would say five seems to be the magic number of songs or tracks that you want them to listen to. So when you do this, let me kind of set the stage. And I'll put some like email templates together and stuff like that. But you don't want to come right off the bat sending the music, right? They may not be looking for composers. Your music may not be a fit for them, right? So do your research. Like for Black Toast, for example, um, look at, let's go back to their homepage. Wait, where is their homepage? Well, here we go. We can see they've got Walmart, so they got a corporate client, they got Blue Bloods, No Tomorrow, Out of the Blue. Look at those songs. What types of, oh, those are artists. No Tomorrow, Blue Bloods, all of that, right? What types of shows are these? What types of music are they using? So pay attention when you're watching TV, right? Listen to the music closely. You might, your partner might get mad at you because you're not paying attention to the show, but whatever, right? Figure out what type of music uh, you feel like would be a best fit to your style. And when you make your music, have a purpose, right? Okay, this sounds like this would be a good background track for dialogue over this type of scene, or this is to build tension, or this is to, this is a reality hip hop show, and we want it to kind of be fun and light, or something like that. Listen to what other people are doing, and then figure out, all right, what am I going to be most excited about? What's going to get me up in the morning to make this music? Like, if you're like, don't care about making uplifting music or something like that, but you're trying to just to get a sync placement, I mean, I wouldn't start there. Maybe you want to stretch yourself as a producer down the road, but start with what you love first and then see what the best fit is. And you might have stuff on your hard drive that's already a fit, right? So do that first. Look at the company, make sure they are a fit. You don't want to send, we only do movie trailers. You don't want to be sending them hip hop beats, right? So you may not even want to write that person. But let me go back here and share this. Okay, here we go. So, but you don't want to send music right off. You want to send them a message that's like, hey, I'm a producer. I make this type of music, or I'm a composer. Sometimes you use the word composer depending on, if you're Prabhu or not, because Prabhu is, if you don't know, the problem Prabhu, he is definitely a legit composer. Hey, just wondering if you're looking for any new composers. If you have any placements, even like with artists or something like that, I produce for these artists, especially if it's a name they might recognize. I'm looking to get into sync, and I'm most interested in this type of music, these types of shows that you've done. You may want to personalize it and say, give compliments always go a long way. I love what you did with this soundtrack or anything like that. And make sure it's genuine. Make sure it's coming from a place that you actually mean. But that goes a long way as well, right? You're introducing yourself, seeing if there is a demand or if they have a need. And some of them may never respond. Some of them may take forever to respond. Some of them might respond right away because they need a project they need help with, and they're trying to see, who's out there that can help them get it done. Then when you get that follow-up, that's when you send a link to your music. And you want to have that music hosted on a streaming site of some kind. So the most popular in the sync space is a company called Disco. And that costs $10 a month. Here, I'll share the tab real quick. So disco.ac. You can put lots of playlists together. They'll have the ability to download it, and you want to make it downloadable because they may want to use it in a show right away. You never know, right? But this is probably the most common platform in the sync space. But you don't have to spend any money right off. You can use SoundCloud. You can use BeatStars. You can use your own website. Whatever you have, just make sure it's hosted. It's easy to find, and you have those different playlists for them to listen to. All right. So going back to the spreadsheet real quick. You put their name, you would put the attempt. So I first tried to reach out to them on this date, and then I would wait, if they don't write you back, maybe 2 weeks. If they have like a post that's like, attention composers, due to the volume of the requests, we're not going to get back to you. You may want to wait a little longer to follow up because they're just getting so many requests. But so not following up is a mistake, and following up too much is also a mistake. I would say 2 weeks is the sweet spot for most situations. Exclusive. So look at their library and see if they require that your music be exclusive to their library. There's pros and cons to that. So one strategy is you may want to join things like Pond5 and Taxi, and like there's some that don't require you to be exclusive, and you may just want to put it on as many of those types of platforms as you can, so your music is in more spots for people looking for that music for their podcast or TV show or whatever. Second, if you're with a quality um, music library and it's working and it's getting things placed, exclusive is perfectly fine, right? You know that they have the relationships, they're getting you the placements, make them music. It's definitely worth it. But this is just a part in the spreadsheet where you can mark if they require it to be exclusive or not. Playlist pitched. Oh, hold on, I'm missing an L here. Playlist pitched. The reason that column is there is you may have more than one playlist. You may be like, well, I like making hip hop reality stuff, but I also I like making stuff for sports. I want to be on ESPN. I want to be in the background of, legends of the NFL. Well, I don't know, whatever you want to be on, right? So you may have different playlists for different types of shows or situations. So this is just a way to remember which one you pitch to which of these music libraries, and then reply. Did they reply or not? Right. And then, maybe we'll put a notes section here. Notes. This person, we talked about fishing, or whatever you had in common with that person, or you think you made a connection, or maybe they said something that you were like, I don't know about that. Right. You put that in the notes section just so it helps you keep them all straight. This one I put 127 possible sync libraries that you could be working with. So I hope that's helpful. I don't see anybody in the chats chiming in, but I hope that's helpful to anybody that wants to get into sync. Um, I've been relatively successful. I've had a few placements using this method. And this is my year of sync. So we're going to learn a lot together. I really want to focus on this. I've basically, most of my placements so far have been for criminal type shows and backgrounds over dialogue and that type of stuff. That doesn't pay that well, but pays something, right? I'm going to look at possibly getting into bigger deals, brand deals, and things like that. You can see the microphone behind me. I've kind of dusted that off. I'm going to start with a beat that Fiction sent me. Going to write a song to that. Try to create a purpose, a type of TV show that I'm looking for. It's kind of a popish track, which is more my style. And I think that's a good transition into the next section. So we're going to get into music creation. All right, so let me stop sharing there. Let me go back to a full screen if I can. Hold on, can I? Can I go back to a full screen? There we go. All right. Oh, I just figured out there's a toggle down here. Orientation selection not available while live. All right, cool. That's good to know. All right. And hey, let me know if anybody's watching this and you've seen a previous version of this and you've seen a new version of this. Do you prefer portrait or do you prefer landscape for the aspect ratio? Let me know. All right, cool. So let's go into music creation. So I wanted to show two things. I'm an FL Studio user, so if you're in FL Studio, great. This will probably make a little more sense to you. But the tools I'm going to use are not DAW specific. They work with any DAW. So let me open this up real quick. Let me share. I'm going to share the entire screen, and I'm going to share the system audio. Here we go. All right. So let me bring this up. Oh, I like this. I like this. I mean, it's going to cut off the left part. That's all right, though. So what I did was I drug in, this is just a wave file of Fiction's beat. I'm going to play a little bit of it. Awesome. That string line is crazy. But anyway, that's his beat. So a problem that you might have is, if you're a songwriter, right? If you're a singer, I happen to be a singer. This may not be as big of a deal for a rapper because if you're a rapper, mostly, I mean, there are people that kind of sing in their raps a little bit, but mostly all you're doing is coming up with rhythms and your flow and lyrics and all of that. But if you're a songwriter, you may have trouble coming up with arrangement ideas for the verse or the chorus or something like that. Or you came up with an idea and you're like, you know what, I use that same melody on another song, 5 years ago, and I can't reuse it, even though it fits perfect. I can't use that one. I want to come up with something. I want to like somehow spark inspiration on a new type of melody. I'm going to show you how to do that. One thing you may want to do first is identify the chord progression. So I could probably just ask Fiction, hey, what was the chord progression you used? But not all of us have that luxury, and some producers just have no idea what chord progression they use because they're more of the beat makers and they're more about the feeling. But what you can do is we're going to open up our channel rack. So let me drag this here, and we're going to open a tool called hold on, let me bring this back over, called Scalar 2 to be exact. So I'm just going to type in here Scalar. There we go, Scalar 2. And I'm actually going to add this to my favorites. So if you star something, it goes in your favorites. You can find it a lot quicker next time. All right, so here we have Scalar. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. I know you can't see it, but I'm taking the sample from the left browser bar, and I'm dragging it into Scalar. There we go. This will replace your current detection. So it's going to detect the chords used in this sample. And there we go. It pulled out all of the chords used. So we can scroll it to the right. And if you click on it, you can hear. Right. So if you're curious what key the song is in, this will let you know. Well, you can't see that part. Hold on. Let me drag it over. Right here, G minor scale. So it's in G minor, and these are the chords. So if you ever wanted to find out the chord progression, that's a way you can do it. Now, when I'm writing a melody, though, I use another tool called MIDI Wizard. So let me find that MIDI Wizard. Here we go. And FL Studio has a native chord progression tool that does some of the same things. I tried using that earlier today, but there's some things that this tool does that one does not. Like, you can arpeggiate things in that tool, but I haven't found a way to necessarily make unique melodies. So that's why I'm going with MIDI Wizard for this, demonstration and tutorial. So first we're going to change, if you remember, it was in G minor. So we're going to change the key to G minor. I'm going to put this on melody mode. I'm going to leave it on lead, and I'm going to break it out into 8 bars. All right. What this does is it automatically generates a melody idea, right? And the chord progression may not be perfect. You can see, well, you can't see, but let me drag it over. Right now, this picked just a long G minor chord, and everything's played in a G minor chord. That may or may not work, and you can make adjustments as you go. And that's what I'm going to do for this demo is I'm going to hit play, listen to it, find something that grabs me, and then we'll start making those tweaks, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's go. All right, start over. I don't like any melody that starts on the 1 because that first violin or that string sound starts right on the 1. So I want to start on the 2. I definitely know I want that in the melody. But you can take out notes, you can delete them. We're just listening for something that sounds decent, right? The first melody was a good melody, but it wasn't a good vocal melody. So I'm also like singing in my head, asking myself, would this be something that if you sang it, would it sound right? The first melody kind of jumped, it was jumping octaves. It's going to be hard to sing, and it's not going to sound natural. This is the closest to the chord progression so far, but if you want to change the chord progression, like G minor for the first 2 bars is about right. This is, I want to say, more like, I want to say B flat, like 9. We're going to try that. We're going to try that and hear what that does to the melody here. Sort of. So it's kind of repeating the same chords over and over again, so I'm going to leave it there. All right, let's go. So this melody might work. Actually, if I were actually writing to this song, I would probably try another like 30 more. But just for the sake of this demo, so it doesn't take forever, I'm going to start making slight adjustments so you know how to do that. So first of all, if you need to change the chord, you can open this tool. It actually shows you like your wheel of fifths and the related chords around it. If you are really good at music theory, you would know when to use, one of these, diminished or a augmented or whatever, right? But if you stick to the blue ones and you're not that familiar with music, you'll be in the right ballpark, right? If you're just creating a song from scratch. But for this one, we were trying to match, what the beat is already doing. Sound like a G minor, B flat progression for the most part. This F does not sound good, so I'm just going to bring it up to this G. All right, playing again. Came in a little early for some reason. There we go. All right, playing again. There we go. See, you start hearing things, it starts to get, give you inspiration. You start thinking of melodies that maybe you didn't think of. And you can come up with a great verse arrangement, hook arrangement, any of that type of stuff using this tool. One thing I do want to point out is right here, there is a unlock and lock key. So if you were to hit this button again to just randomize something, if you hit the lock key here, it will lock in that chord progression that you put in there. And also, if you wanted to lock in the instrument, you would hit this lock right here. So you can change the instrument right here. Right? And if you wanted to lock that instrument in, you could do it there. But anyway, it's a pretty cool tool. It'll get you thinking outside of the box, right? If you tend to play the same things or the same scales or the same licks, if you're a piano player, that type of thing, this might get you thinking of something that you couldn't think of before. It's not going to write it for you, but it's a good tool to have. All right, let me stop sharing that. All right, cool. Let me see what else is on the agenda. I think that's it for today. All right, Q&A. I haven't seen anybody active in the chat, but if anybody has any questions, I can hang out for a second or two. I did put that in the agenda to end the day. Normally, I would do a music review. I didn't see anything. I'm going to double check my email real quick just to see if anybody sent one in. And if you do want to send one in, it's at jason@producingforartists.com. Let me see here. Let me go to... I'm in the wrong account. Bear with me. Producing for Artists. Here we go. All right. Nope. No song submissions. All right. Cool. And any questions? No questions. All right. Awesome. Well, for those of you who watched, I really appreciate it. I'm excited about Producing for Artists. We're here every Saturday, 12 o'clock. I try to make this the most valuable hour that you have in your entire week. If you're somebody that wants to learn how to monetize your music, like I said, the job market's not what it used to be. So that's why, I'm getting a little more aggressive this year and seeing exactly what I can do. I'm going to be getting deeper into sync. I have relationships with basically two music libraries right now. I want to grow that and want to grow into different types of music that might be a little more lucrative. I'll let you know how that goes. Um, if anybody has any questions on this, it's posted. So, just put your questions in the thread of this um, live stream video, the replay. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer that for you. If you want to download that music licensing spreadsheet, it's right there in the file sections of Producing for Artists. If you're on Instagram and you're like, what is Producing for Artists? How do I get there? In my profile, it goes to jasondowdymusic.com, and right there on the homepage, you just click Join Producing for Artists. It's a Facebook group. It's free. Feel free to do that. All right, cool. Well, thank you everybody for your time. I appreciate it. Well, I will see you next week, but until then,